Welcome back. We're building wheel tubs today. All right, we've got a project that started off as a 53, now it's a 54. We've slammed this thing on the rockers pretty much, and well, the stock inner fenders, wheel fenders, whatever you want to call them things, they're not going to work out. Okay, we're tucking 22s onto this. Well, that's what we're doing today. We're building wheel tubs. We went wider, we went taller, and we added a lot of work that probably didn't need to be done, but I wanted to do it. So stick around. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, let's get into it. All right, first things first, we've got to find the measuring tape. We need some sort of device. Where are we at? There it is. Measuring tape. I'm just gonna kind of do some rough cutting and some rough measurements for now. Well, maybe, I don't know. We're gonna see how everything pans out. But the idea is just kind of get a rough circle, kind of tangent those lines straight down so it's not a circle, it's more like a sideways letter D. I don't know, that's how I'm gonna make my tubs. But I need to get a measurement first on the tire. Obviously the wheel and tire is gonna dictate how big of a wheel tub we need. So let's go ahead, measure the wheel and tire. Wheel and tire, measure. We are at, we're gonna call it 28 inches. Now, I want an inch in the front, inch in the back. Let's call that 30 inches. 28 plus 1 is 29, plus 1 is 30. You got it, math with Mark. We're kicking it today. All right, now, we're gonna go back under here. We gotta make sure 30 inches fits, okay? We gotta make sure the opening I have kind of in here is 30 inches or more. And if I gotta cut more, I really don't wanna cut more, maybe we'll go down to like a 29 or 28 and a half or something, I don't know. So, I'm gonna go from basically this far point here to where it looks like it arches there, and that is, no way. It is exactly on 30 inches. Hold up. Let's go up there. Yeah, exactly 30 inches. So 30 inches is gonna work. I don't care about this side yet. We'll figure that side out in a minute after we kind of get this side going. Okay, 30 inches. So what I'm gonna do, since I get one of these fancy plasma tables, I ain't gonna sit there and cut all this stuff out. Try to make circles with circles. Make a circle with a round cutting blade. I'm just gonna cut it out of here. So we're gonna get set up. We're gonna design some sort of, like I said, sideways D. That's how I'm gonna make my wheel tub. Circle with some, anyways, let's get set up and we'll start adding some numbers and pictures and things in that little computer, and hopefully it cuts it out right for a template. All right, time to make that sideways letter D. We're gonna come over here and make a circle. What did we just say? Diameter of 30 inches, 30 inches. Okay, 30 inches. There it is. There, wheel tub. Now, we ain't done yet, okay? I need to put a lip on this whole thing on the outside, basically 3/4. So we're gonna extend all these lines 3/4. That way I can have some sort of rolled edge so I can meet the other panel. I could just take and butt them together and then you just got a kind of a sharp edge, but I want a rolled edge on that tunnel right there. So we're gonna add 3/4 here, all the way around and out there, and then we're gonna cut that out. Okay, let's get, we're gonna home this thing to its corner, kind of set the computer where we need it to go, and then we should have a wheel tub in about 32 seconds. Okay, so I do know it's gonna fit a little bit big. Obviously we added that 3/4 each side, but at least we'll know if we're close enough. Basically, it should just tell me. Gonna have to add a little bit of sheet metal here. This is all gonna get replaced anyways, and this whole shell out here, because in previous videos, you'll see where I cut out this window pocket to see if it fits. I knew we had to repair that anyways. Now, we are still 3/4 up, so it's down a little bit further than I like, and we're spot on. Now, we're gonna add some dimples. No, not even dimples. I don't know why I said dimples. We're gonna add some rolling, some bead to this. Give it a little bit of structure. Nothing fancy, because they ain't gonna be seeing all this, but we do need to put some structure in this panel because it's a little wobbly and it's not really strong. So let's go make it strong. All right, so I always get a lot of comments of, I just do a lot of talking. I don't really break down what I'm doing because, well, there's a fine line between breaking down every single thing, talking too much, working too much in videos. And, you know, we can't please everybody. So I just kind of do what I like to do. So here's what's gonna happen. We're gonna make this tub, and I'm gonna kind of break it down. I'm not going piece by piece, but I'm gonna go like maybe the basics on it that I would think. I would like to know if I was watching a video on how to make a wheel tub. Before I get into actually what we're gonna be, what pattern we're gonna do for structure, what we're using over there as far as the dies go for the bead roller, I'm gonna try to, we need to think 3 steps ahead when it kind of comes to this stuff, because if you remember earlier, I was saying this wheel tub sits on the inside of the fender, right? That's what it does. And then we're gonna extend it basically to the quarter panel. So here is where the 3 steps ahead thinking kind of starts coming in. So I'm gonna try to break it down for you. If you can't keep up, it's probably because I'm explaining it wrong, or, you know, just hit that fast forward button until, I don't know, you see this thing done, and then we can say, hey, you watch somebody build a wheel tub. Okay, so as earlier stated, we're going to be putting this panel on the inside of the wheel, okay? We do have a C-notch, what I'm gonna call a bridge right here. We gotta be able to get sheet metal over that bridge so we can close all the body in and separate it from the chassis. So this wheel tub is going to sit inside of the tire, as I'm looking at it, and outside of the bridge. So that gap between the frame and the tire is where I'm gonna try to get this to fall right on down inside of, okay? What I'm trying to focus on right now is notching out where the axle is. Basically, we know the axle is in the center of the wheel, so that's gonna be the center of my tub as well. I need to know how far up the axle is, so we're completely aired out. That means we cannot go any lower. So my axle's not gonna change really anyway. It's just basically the bridge moving everything around with it. We're gonna give it a little bit of play. So we're gonna say 16 inches. 16 inches from the floor. It's gonna give me plenty of clearance over the top of the axle. That's where we're gonna make a mark. I know the axle tube is 2 3/4. We may bump that out to 3 inches just to kind of give it some wiggle room as well. And then we're gonna make some lines and cut out the keyway, I'm gonna call it, for this. Step 1. Okay, I sort of kind of got the camera where there's not a whole bunch of light glare on it, but we'll see. Probably not. So I got the center of the panel here. What did we say? We're gonna say the axle is, I need a marker. Where's my markers at? I can never, oh, it's right here in my hat. Okay, we said the axle is gonna be 3 inches. That's what we're gonna go with if we decide to cut this keyway out. So 3 inches, we're gonna separate that center line by half of that, which is gonna be half of 3 inches is 1.5 inches. So we're gonna go 1.5 to the left, 1.5 to the right. We're gonna draw some lines up this. Okay, we said 16 inches, right? 16 inches is the top of the axle, not the center of the axle. So we're gonna go up 16 inches. That's it. There's the top. Boom, right there. Now we know the diameter is 3 inches. I looked around the shop, found me one of these here Oreo cups, the bottom of it, perfectly 3 inches. And we're just gonna transfer. There you go. Slot, if we're gonna cut it. We're not gonna cut that slot out just yet, but we know that's kind of an area we need to stay out of when we start designing and bead rolling and doing all that kind of good stuff. All right, let's go to step 2. Okay, I do wanna kind of reiterate something, because as I'm kind of going through this, wheel tubs, I don't really need to put a lot of structure into this specific build. It's gonna have panels going here, across the bridge, across the trunk floor, across the car floor. It's gonna have a package tray. It's gonna have all kinds of stuff. So it really doesn't need a whole bunch, but I don't know. I've got this thing where I just gotta go one step above, and I don't know, I don't know. I always like to try to outdo myself, and really what all I'm looking for, just so we're on the same page, is this little area right in here of the wheel well is the only spot you're gonna see. The package tray comes about halfway and shoots down that way. This little part right here, when we open the trunk, because it'll be a flat plate here, or a flat panel here, designed, this little area, third time saying it, okay, is the only area that I'm gonna do any type of beating into. Why? Because I like to make things harder for myself. Now I need to know what this area, so off the top of the tire, before I hit the top of my C-notch, what that number is, and then kind of this little area. And that's really, I gotta transfer that over to it. I'll have a space that I know I can work. I'll build some sort of design inside that. So let's figure out the top of this. 9 inches, okay? 9 inches forward of the front of the axle. We're gonna say, let's go 4.5. Okay, now that we got that measurement, I need to see if there's anything above this bridge area right here, which it is. The exhaust right there is sitting up higher. That is the highest point. So I'm going to run a square basically from here to there, make it level, see how high this comes above the top of this bridge. And well, I kind of already did that, okay? I put a straight edge across, it's 2 inches. The reason for that 2-inch takeaway is there is going to be a panel. We're gonna have the trunk floor here. It's gonna angle up, it's gonna go over this bridge. And ideally, right, we would just go from the top of this bridge, panel it to the top of this bridge. Well, we can't because we're running into things, the exhaust. So we're actually gonna raise that panel up to 2 inches. It gives me about a 1/2 inch clearance on the exhaust. No rattling, vibration, all that stuff. And when this panel meets this wheel tub here, if I were to put any type of pattern or design down within that 2 inches, it's gonna get covered and would look just goofy or not thought out. So all I'm trying to do is find what space I have open right here. There you go, there's that 2 inches. Okay, 7 inches. Let's get some sort of straight edge off of that. Woo, we're starting to thunder and lightning out there. Dang. Okay, so you see how we're starting to work? We got to start to stay in this area right here that we're lining through. Now we're just gonna figure out the angle of that bridge coming down, carry that line down, and we should have some sort of area to see where I can make designs. Angle finder thingy here. Lock that down. This is my line, that's my angle. Match up to mark, put the point right there in that mark. There's my angle. There's basically the bridge right there. All right, so we're gonna call this like, that was step 3, making the line. Step 4 is figuring out what lines we have here. Stay with me, right? Front, back. Really, we're just worried about this back half. So here is the notch. Remember, we have to go to that 9 inches down, not to the 7, because the frame is actually at set 9 inches down. So this line right here, follow this line up, kick it over and down. That is the notch, okay? Now I just kind of gave it a 1 inch space or a 3/4 inch space and a 1 inch space this way. And now we have to figure out where those lines meet the 9 inch, because that's the panel coming in. That panel's gonna mate right here, and that's gonna be my exhaust. Is kind of somewhere up in this mark. There you go. So now we gotta erase some lines. This line's gonna get erased. This line's gonna get erased. And we're gonna use the outer one. This will get erased, this will get erased. I found the angle of the frame. Come down, put the angle finder, whatever. All this is not gonna be used either. So really what we're looking at is coming down over this little section right here is really all we gotta figure out a pattern for. See, pretty simple. Okay, I got one more, I got one more line, because remember we gotta be like 17 steps ahead of this thing. One more line, okay? Remember my panel is supposed to be 30 inches and I cut it to 31.5 because I added 3/4, added 3/4. I added that 3/4 for my radius to happen. So I gotta stay out of that 3/4 as well. I've got one of these, I don't know, it's just like a scribe. You can have a stop set to it. That is set to 3/4. We're gonna put that on the edge here. and it should scribe it. Let's do it this way. All the way down, 3/4. Three-quarter. Okay, there you go. Scribed. We're gonna start drawing patterns. Step 27, draw a pattern. I wanna kind of clearly define my lines, stuff I need to stay inside of. We're gonna go ahead and radius these edges, radius, 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 and then roll it. I think I got it. Sweet. Here's the fun part, tricky part, kind of, sort of, yes, but it's what makes the panel actually a wheel tub and makes it kind of give it that clean look. And that is, we have got to radius these edges here. Now, I could just take a panel, stand this up, weld her on here and fold it over and do all the goodies. But to me, it's gonna be a sharp edge. It's just not gonna look like I want this car to look like. So here's what we're gonna do. Here is the dies I'm using for these specific dies. I've got a adjustable collar. You see right there, there is a gap. Let me see if I can get it better. There is a gap here. We'll start off kind of that big, and then we'll close that radius tighter, 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 and tighter until pretty much there's no light in between there. And that's gonna give us this 3/4 radius on the edge of that panel. Simple, easy, done, right? Just throw it in there. Nope, we can't do that. We can't just throw that in there because what's happening is we're shrinking this metal and we have to pre-shrink it as well, okay? Meaning, I don't want the panel looking like a Pringle chip. It's gonna be all have these reverse curves and everything. So I've got my other tool over here. I've got a stretcher and a shrinker. We've got it set up for shrinking right now. I'm gonna run the edge in the shrinker, and then it should start bowing its panel up. And then as we start putting the curve in, it should be bowing our panel back down, kind of making it true again. Okay, so I'm gonna make a few passes on this. I'm gonna make two, maybe most likely a third pass on this. We're gonna see, once I get my second pass in there, we'll see how much it's actually curving, and then we will go from there. All right, I'm gonna go in all the way. The throat of this is probably only like 1 inch. I'm going to do the whole thickness or the whole depth of this throat, and I'm gonna kind of just overlap my shrinks, not making them too far apart, so I don't want that little rippling happening in top of there or that tucks happening in between them. So we're gonna go the whole way, kind of light if we can, overlapping, and well, we'll do that all the way for the first pass and see how it goes. And we'll talk about the second pass when it's time. All right, there you go. You can see it's kind of, that was one pass. You can see it's starting to make like a little curve here. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more stretching or shrinking right here on this corner than that corner. And now this second pass, actually what I'm gonna do is do one more pass here, about halfway, about right here. I felt that panel kind of give once we cleared the structure or this beaded section. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna run this probably one more time all the way in, and then my second pass, I'm only gonna go about half of that. So we're about 1 inch now. I'm gonna go about a 1/2 inch in, and it should really start seeing something here after this. All right, so panel is going to be sitting in the car this way. This is the back half. We want this lip to curl towards the tire. So the bottom die here, if you remember from showing you, the bottom die is what's gonna make that curve, or that radius, okay? So we're gonna be putting this panel face down. That's what's giving it its curve, not the top die. So we don't do this backwards. And I'm going to space her out We'll start closing it up here in a little bit. All right, I went ahead and made my second and my third pass just for time's sake, and it came out, I think, pretty dang good. There's our 3/4 lip. I've got one spot where you at. Maybe it didn't, right here. Got one little spot I need to dolly out right there, but it came out like I was hoping, pretty dang flat. We got the 3/4 radius here. Now we can take and put our extension piece to fit, you know, from the inside to the actual outer quarter panel. There you go. Now what? Now we gotta get it close to the car. Probably gonna get the chassis back under the car so we know exactly where this is gonna sit in between the frame and the wheel and tire, and then start figuring out how wide I need to make this tub. That's up next. All right, we're gonna do a little bit of math. We're gonna do math with Mark again. Here's the bottom line, I'm lazy. I don't want to bring the chassis under there, so I'm just gonna do what I think's gonna work. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna measure the width of the outside tire to outside tire. We're gonna take that measurement, which is 70 3/4. Gotta write that down because, well, I will forget things. Then what we're gonna do, we're gonna go up under that car and we're gonna measure the inside of the quarter panel to inside of the quarter panel. That's gonna give me a number. We're gonna subtract it from that number. That's gonna give me my gap from outside of the tire to outside of tire to the quarter panel. Then we can take that, add it to whatever our tire width is, wherever I want it in between the frame and the tire. That should give me my offset, right? Should. I don't know, let's just keep measuring. All right, I gotta remember, don't go to the lip because the fender themselves are actually going to the quarter panels. So let's get a number there. 73 3/4. What was that other one? 73 3/4. Okay, we're gonna write down 73 3/4, which makes this easy. See, I forgot, so that's why I wrote that. 73 minus 70 is 3 inches. We're gonna split that in half, which is gonna be 1.5 inches. Then we're gonna measure basically how wide is my tire, plus where I want it to feed down in between there. And that should be how wide I want it. So now we just cut a panel however long this is. Boop. Oh, we gotta account for the lip too. Minus a half inch. Minus a half inch. All right, we gotta do some quick math here because I can't do this portion on my fingers. We know that we need to find the whole distance of that circle. So 31 times, we gotta do pi, which is at 3.14 equals, we're gonna call that 97.34. So about 97 1/4, but we need half of that. 97.34 divided by 2 equals 48 1/2. 48.67. 48.67. Now those little kick downs to make it that, you know, uppercase D that comes straight down, those reach were 9 inches. Now we got to add 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 18 equals 66.67. 66.67 by 12 1/4. There we go. Okay, now if you guys did your math correctly, we should be pretty dang close to a wheel tub. Come on, baby. I want to slide you over. Oh, boys. We are on it. It worked. Man, I love when a plan starts coming together, and I probably just jinxed it because, well, you don't say that until the plan comes together. Anyways, I gotta get this thing all cleaned up because I like to get all that stuff welded on there with a nice clean flat surface. So let me go ahead and clean all this mess up, get it out of here, and I probably should go ahead and cut the other one out of there too while we're here and knock them both out. Maybe, probably not.
I'm just doing my best even though I'm so stressed out. Everything just feels like a test that I fail, so depressed when I can't seem to get out. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want.
All that work for that little thing right there. And because I didn't want to have a flat edge. Oh well. All right, let me go ahead and get all this stuff finished, welded, ground down. I should probably test fit. Yeah, let me test fit it first. I'll cut out just a little bit more where that pocket's at. There you go. We're just about in there.
I'm inspired by thirst. I'm inspired by worth. I desire your worst, so you can just hide while I work. I ain't tired, you first. I'll write a second, third verse about the lies you go disperse. You never did shit, I know it hurts. But something deep inside won't let me quit. I swear that I'm inspired by all this shit. Tell me that I can and I won't. That's what guides me the most. Your lies, I'll do what I want.
Well, I lost a bit. I was getting ready to start cutting up this fender, inner tub, whatever you want to call it, and well, I lost some video. So we're gonna go back and show you kind of what I just did. Put the wheel tub back in here. See, it's all in there, kind of where we need it roughly. I say roughly. I'm just getting it, try to true and plumb right here because we still got to keep sliding it in to get all the way up into the outer fender here to this quarter panel. So, as you can see, there's lines drawn right there and there's lines drawn right here. All I did was take a compass. I put my marker on one side, like so, if I can do this. Marker on one side, ran it down the fender, marked some lines, the contour with both of those, flipped it, marked it, marked it. Now, getting ready to pull that out. We're gonna pull that thing back out, we're gonna get that all snipped up, and then just kind of keep working its way inside to the quarter panel. All right, got the chassis back under here. We're gonna start lowering it down. Make sure these wheel wells, or this one wheel well over here before I finish up the other side, kind of tucks in there good. I made some marks to clear the bridge. So we're gonna go ahead and plasma out those marks there, kind of give it the hump over and down and back around. Might be taking some more off the bottom here, depending on where it hits the frame, but it is in. It is ready to basically get its final touches. And then we're gonna see if we can get this body back down the chassis. And if everything goes smooth, we're gonna rinse and repeat that to that side. We're calling it a day. All right, I was able to actually get it down all the way to the body. Dude, she is down there, okay? Now, I do have a little bit of rubbage on the front of the wheel tub, but the body's not where it needs to be. It's just, just hitting it. I don't imagine us driving this thing aired down all the way like that, or the owner driving this thing all the way down like that, cruising around, he's gonna hit everything anyway, so we'll be up just a little bit. This is gonna be more like parking or static or down. So, once I get, look, tire is actually forward in the wheel well, so we're gonna come back just a little bit, and it's only hitting like right here. But if you watch some of the other videos, remember when we started taking all the sheet metal out of this car, the window pockets. I am right on the window pockets. I'm about a 1/4 inch from it. So if I do change anything, I'm gonna end up having to, the windows won't come down all the way in the back. I'm gonna have to end up channeling that pocket, making a new bracket for it, all that kind of goody stuff. So I think, actually, we're good to go with this. So there it is. Now we'll have to, later on we'll get a strip. Basically it's gonna go all the way around that. It'll tie into this structure. Most of this structure is gonna come out and get replaced with a solid piece coming around here. The notch, remember we're gonna have a plate coming all the way across here. It's gonna come down, it's gonna go to the floorboard where the gas tank's gonna be all in here. Anyways, I think that thing came out killer. I love the way it is. We're gonna rinse, repeat, do it on the other side. We're not gonna stick around for all that. We're just gonna do the other one, Next video, you'll see both the tubs in, and we'll start doing the panel work to cover up the notch, doing the floor pans for the gas tank and all the goodies that are gonna have to happen for the whole trunk to be done. Who knows how much we're gonna get done in the next video. Anyways, that's it. That is a wrap for today's video. If you are not subscribed, dude, hit the subscribe button, okay? If you are subscribed, share this out. I don't know, maybe your mother, brother, sister, dog, cat, auntie, uncle, preacher, somebody, I don't know. Share it out. That's it. We will see you guys next time.